Hey guys, welcome back. In last lecture we initialized our Next.js projects, and in this lecture we'll continue with the React components. So let's start. Go to your coding editors and let's go to index.js here. So what's happening actually here? Here we are creating some arrow function and we are returning here some h1. And here what you can see is just a function, but is in the same time a React component. And there is a React functional component, and the React functional component is just a function that returns some JSX, and JSX is fancy name for what you can see here. So it looks like HTML, but this is a JSX. So this is a pure JavaScript, what you can see here. And if you are confused by this arrow function, you can write the same function like this: const index equals, and now function like this, and now let's return here, and I will return here this h1. So let's return here h1. I am index page, and let's actually write here from normal function, just like this, and I will comment all of this code here. Let's save it. Let's go back to our browsers. And now you can see here I am index page from normal function. So here is a difference. That's how you can write a normal function, and that's how you can write arrow function. Arrow function have some benefits. It's a shorter. It's binding this context, and I will teach you about this context later when we will use more often arrow functions, and you will see the true benefit of arrow function. But for now, we can write it as this. Arrow function is very popular. And also you can write it as this. Okay, so just for a sake of an example, I will leave it here. And now I will show you a third way. And actually this will be class. So let's write here class. Let's call it index as before. And now extends, and we want to extend a React component. So extends and the React component. And as you can see, we don't have a React here. So what we can do, we can import React, and we installed before React in our terminal. So you can see here we are using React, and our React is in a node modules here. And when you want to import something, you will just write import. We want to import React, and this is automatically looking inside of a node modules folder. So I can write here just a node, and I can write here just import React from React, just like this. And when I will look in node modules, I am pretty sure I will find here folder React. So if you scroll down here, you can find here R, and let's find here, and here it is, React. So you can see I'm importing React from React. So there it is. We have a React. We are extending React component. And this is called class component. This is a functional component. It is a very simple logic. Functional components are usually dump components, and I will write it here. So dump components and get data and the return data. So this very simple component is a function. It can get some data, and you will return this JSX. So HTML-like syntax. And here is a class component. So let's write here a class component. And a class component can do some additional operation. I can specify here functions and everything what can belongs to a class. So I can write there a constructor, and I can use lifecycle functions, and I will show it to you lifecycle functions later. Don't worry, you will learn everything. So class component, and you can write here more functionality. You can do more stuff and use a lifecycle functions. Everything you will learn, don't worry. For now, I will comment all of this code. And very important characteristic of a class component is that we need to implement function that is called the render. So let's write the render function, just normal function. It's a part of our React component, and we need to return from this function JSX. and I will return exactly what I am returning here. So I will return from here age1. So I'll write here age1. I am index page from class component, just like this. All right, let's press enter. Let's go back to browsers, and I am index page from class component. Perfect, guys. So that should be it from this lecture. We learned how to write arrow function, so just functional component, and I should write here functional component. So let's write here functional component. All right, we learned how to write functional component, so basically same component with just function syntax. So this is more classical syntax, what you can see maybe more often. And here is a class component. So this we are using class here. You need to extend from a React component when you're creating class component of a React, and you have to implement function render. So render function, just return JSX. Okay guys, so that's it from this lecture, and in the next lecture I will be talking about the JSX, because this can be right now a little bit blurry and you are maybe confused what is this JSX. So for a JSX, see you in the next lecture.